عيني وثمرة فؤادي، فقال لي يا أمه إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جدي رسول الله. فقلت نعم إن جدك وأخاك تحت الكساء. فدنا الحسين نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا جده، السلام عليك يا من اختاره الله، وتعلن لي أن أدخل معكما تحت الكساء. فقال وعليك السلام يا بلدي ويا شافع أمتي، قد أذنت لك. فدخل معهما تحت الكساء. فأقبل عند ذلك أبو الحسن علي بن أبي طالب وقال السلام عليك يا بنت رسول الله. فقلت وعليك السلام يا أبا الحسن ويا أمير المؤمنين. فقال يا فاطمة إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة أخي وابن عمي رسول الله. فقلت نعم ها هو مع ولديك تحت الكساء. فأقبل علي نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا رسول الله، أتعذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء؟ قال له وعليك السلام يا أخي ويا وسيي وخليفتي وصاحب لوائي، قد أذنت لك. فدخل علي تحت الكساء ثم أتيت نحو الكساء وقلت السلام عليك يا أبتاه يا رسول الله، أتعذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء؟ قال وعليك السلام يا بنتي ويا بدعتي، قد أذنت لك. فدخلت تحت الكساء. فلما اكتملنا جميعا تحت الكساء أخذ أبي رسول الله بطرفي الكساء وأومأ بيده اليمنى إلى السماء وقال اللهم إن هؤلاء أهل بيتي وخاصتي وهامتي، لحموهم لحمي ودموهم دمي، يؤلموني ما يؤلموهم ويحزنوني ما يحزنوهم. أنا هرب لمن هاربهم وسلم لمن سالمهم وعدو لمن آداهم ومحب لمن أحبهم. إنهم مني وأنا منهم، فاجعل صلواتك وبركاتك ورحمتك وغفرانك ورضوانك علي وعليهم، وذهب عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. فقال الله عز وجل يا ملائكتي ويا سكان سماواتي إني ما خلقت سماء مبنية ولا أرضا مدهية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضيئة ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحرا يجري ولا فلكا يسري إلا في محبة هؤلاء الخمسة الذين هم تحت الكساء. فقال الأمين جبرائيل يا ربي ومن تحت الكساء؟ فقال عز وجل لهم أهل بيت النبوة ومعدن الرسالة، هم فاطمة وأبوها وبعلها وبنوها. فقال جبرائيل يا ربي أتعلن لي أن أهبط إلى الأرض لأكون معهم سادسا؟ فقال الله نعم قد أذنت لك. فهبط الأمين جبرائيل وقال السلام عليك يا رسول الله. العلي الأعلى يقرؤك السلام ويخصك بالتحية والإكرام ويقول لك وعزتي وجلالي إني ما خلقت سماء مبنية ولا أرضا مدهية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضيئة ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحرا يجري ولا فلكا يسري إلا لأجلكم ومحبتكم، وقد أذن لي أن أدخل معكما. فهل أذن لي أن أدخل معكم فهل تعذن لي يا رسول الله؟ فقال رسول الله وعليك السلام يا أمين وحي الله، إنه نعم قد أذنت لك. فدخل جبرائيل معنا تحت الكساء فقال لأبي إن الله قد أوحى إليكم يقول إنما يريد الله ليذهب عنكم الرجس أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. فقال علي لأبي يا رسول الله أخبرني ما لجلوسنا هذا تحت الكساء من الفضل عند الله. فقال النبي صلى الله عليه وآله والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني بالرسالة نجيا ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض وفيه جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا إلا ونزلت عليهم الرحمة وهفت بهم الملائكة واستغفرت لهم إلى أن يتفرقوا. فقال علي عليه السلام إذا والله فزنا وفز شيعتنا ورب الكعبة. فقال أبي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله يا علي والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني بالرسالة نجيا ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض وفيه جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا وفيهم مهموم إلا وفرج الله همهم ولا مخموم إلا وكشف الله غمه ولا طالب حاجة إلا وقضى الله حاجته. فقال علي عليه السلام إذا والله فزنا وسعدنا وكذلك شيعتنا فازوا وسعدوا في الدنيا والآخرة ورب الكعبة. اللهم صل على
اللهم صل على
बारे दीगर सलावत। सबसे पहले we welcome Maulana and also अभी Muharram गुजरा है. We were so connected with each other and we were connected with the zikr of Allah, and even after 11th Muharram I was feeling empty. So inshallah ये बहुत बड़ा जिक्र है ये. सलावत.
Allahumma salli ala
Surah Al-Baqarah, ayat number 14. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وإذا لقوا الذين آمنوا قالوا آمنا وإذا قالوا إلا شياطينهم قالوا إنا معكم إنما نحن مستهزئون. The translation. And when they meet those who have believed, they say, we too have believed. But when they are alone with their ringleaders, they say, we are in reality with you. We are simply making light for them. Salawat.
Allahumma salli ala
I will actually recite a source, but before this, just एक शार है. मुझे आती है जब भी याद सरवर, मुझे आती है जब भी याद सरवर, फिजाए करबला है और मैं सलावत.
Allahumma salli ala
अफसोस नबीज़ादियों का शाम में जाना, सज्जाद से पूछो. अफसोस नबीज़ादियों का शाम में जाना, सजाद से पूछो, सर नंगे माओ बहनों कदर बार में जाना, सजाद से पूछो, अफसोस नबीजादियों का शाम में जाना, सजाद से पूछो, छुपती थी नबीजादी नबी, नबीजादी के पीछे किस शर्म हया से, छुपती थी नबीजादी नबी, नबीजादी के पीछे किस शर्म हया से, और शिम्र का उन बीबियों के नाम बताना, सजाद से पूछो, सर नंगे माओ बहनों कदर बार में जाना, सजाद से पूछो, बैठे हुए दरबार में सब छोटे बड़े थे, सादात खड़े थे, बैठे हुए दरबार में सब छोटे बड़े थे, सादात खड़े थे, सर तश्त में रखा हुआ ज़ैनब को दिखाना, सजाद से पूछो, सर तश्त में रखा हुआ ज़ैनब को दिखाना, सजाद से पूछो, अफसोस नबीजादियों का शाम में जाना, सजाद से पूछो, जब दोस्तर शबीर ने जिंदान में कज़ा की, आफत की घड़ी थी, जब दोस्तर शबीर ने जिंदान में कज़ा की, आफत की घड़ी थी, वो नन्ही सी मैयत बंदे हाथों से उठाना, सजाद से पूछो, वो नन्ही सी मैयत बंदे हाथों से उठाना, सजाद से पूछो अफसोस नबीजादियों का शाम में जाना, सजाद से पूछो सर नंगे माओ बहनों कदर बार में जाना, सजाद से पूछो सब।
Allahumma salli ala Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad salawat. Allahumma salli ala Rahe Khushbudiye Imam Zaman salawat. Allahumma salli ala
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله الذي لا يبلغ مدحته القائلون ولا يوصينا معه العادون ولا يؤدي حقه المجتهدون الذي لا يدركه بهد الهمم ولا يناله غوث الفتن الذي ليس لصفته حد محدود ولا نعت موجود ولا وقت محدود ولا أجل ممدود فترى الخلائق بقدرته ونشر الرياح برحمته وتذهب السفر ما يدانا ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وحبيبنا وحبيب رب العالمين أبي القاسم محمد
Allahumma salli ala
بيت الطيبين الطاهرين واللعن على أعدائهم من أول يوم ظلمهم إلى قيام يوم الدين أما بعد فقال الله سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه المبين وقوله الحق بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم سلام على نوح في العالمين صدق الله العلي العظيم.
Allahumma salli ala salawat.
Before we begin, please recite Surah Al-Fatiha for your marhumin and for the marhumin of those people that do not have any money. Recite Surah Al-Fatiha. Bismillah. Bismillah. صلى على محمد وآل محمد.
Allahumma salli ala
Dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
wa alaykum assalam.
The topic that I was given today was the importance of Azadari, the reason that we do Azadari, the reason that we do the julus that we went to, what was the philosophy behind that, the ziyarat that we do, what is the philosophy behind all of that? These taboos that we take out, why do we do this? The alams that we have here, why do we do this? Because for the youngsters, this is something new. For the elders, they've seen this in the countries that they come from, whether it be Pakistan, Iran, Iraq, India, it doesn't matter. The elders, they've seen these in the countries that they come from. But the youngsters, this is new. Maybe the elders don't know the significance of this alam. Maybe they don't know. If I was to tell you that this alam was given to Hazrat Adam alayhi salam, who passed on to Hazrat Shish alayhi salam, how many of you would know that?
This alam, it came from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to Hazrat Adam. It went from Hazrat Adam to all of his naibs. It came to Hazrat Nuh, went from Hazrat Nuh to Hazrat Ibrahim, from Hazrat Ibrahim to Hazrat Musa, from Hazrat Musa to Hazrat Isa, all the way to the Holy Prophet Amir al-Mu'mineen, and in Karbala, it came into the arms of Abu Fazl Abbas alayhi salam. There's a history behind this alam. There's a history behind everything that we do. If you look at, for example, they ask, why do you take out tabuts? Why do you do matam? When they ask these questions, brothers, we should all have an answer to these. Why? Because if this is our aqidah, it becomes our responsibility to defend our aqidah. When it comes to usul al-din, it becomes necessary for us to prove usul al-din. When it comes to faru al-din, it doesn't become necessary for us to prove faru al-din. Why? Because after you believe in Tawheed, Adl, Nabuwat, Imam al-Qiyamat, the laws of religion, they fall into place. That's it. But the tabut that we take at the Zadari, that we do all of this, it has its roots in usul al-din. The roots of it is in usul al-din. The way we do these amal are in faru al-din. The way that we exhibit these amal are in faru al-din. What do I mean? The tabut, all of this Azadari, it goes to Nabuwat and Imamat, correct? Now, the way we portray this is in faru al-din. That's where the marja is going to tell us, this is the way you do it. This is what's required, correct? Even for salat, for example, believing in namaz. Believing in namaz. If a Muslim does not believe in namaz, they're not Muslim. If they do not believe in namaz, if they believe in namaz but don't pray, they're still Muslim. If they believe in namaz but they don't pray, they're still Muslim. But if they don't believe in namaz from the beginning, the ulama, they say that they're out of the religion. Now, how are we going to know how do we pray? The Maraj are going to tell us. So the how falls under faru al-din, correct? Now, when it comes to these azadari, when it comes to this azadari, alhamdulillah, I saw a lot of you guys at the julus. When we had the julus for Muharram, why were we at that julus? When they asked, why do you do this julus? When they asked, why do you beat yourselves? Why do you beat your chest? What answer do you have? Forget Sunnis. Because these julus, to be honest, they're not for the Sunnis in this country. These julus are for the non-Muslims. Why? Because the Sunnis, they've lived in Pakistan, they know about these julus. They've lived in India, they know about this julus. If until now they do not know why we do this julus, then they're never going to know. They're never going to know. If they don't know, it's because they don't want to know. Why do we beat ourselves? Why do we do matam for Abu Abdullah Hussain alayhi salam? Why do we do that? The answer that you should give them is, look, there's an atrocity that happened 1400 years ago. If I was to go and be thrown in jail for something that I did not do, anyone that's thrown in jail illegitimately, what is the first thing they do? To tell the world that something bad has happened to them, what is it that they do when they're in jail? You hear all the time in the news. Fulan person is on a hunger strike. Fulan person is on a hunger strike. He went on a hunger strike. This hunger strike, what does it do? It harms the body. It hurts the body. But the reason that this person is hurting his body is why? Is to tell the world that there's an injustice that has happened to him. To get the world to understand, to get the world to realize that there's an injustice that has happened to him. So what does he do? He harms his own body so everyone knows. The reason we do this matam is why we want the world to know that there was an injustice that happened 1400 years ago. I want you to ask me why I'm hurting myself so I can tell you about that injustice. So I can tell you about that injustice. The same way you go to the jails and you ask them what happened to you. I want you to come to me and ask me why I do matam. So I can tell you, in our faith, there's no bigger injustice that happened in Islam and all of mankind than the injustice that happened to Abu Abdullah Hussain in Islam. There isn't a bigger. Name me one incident. Look at the Christians. Look at how high the status they gave Hazrat Isa only and only because he sacrificed his own self. They believe that Hazrat Isa alayhi salam sacrificed his own self, correct? And they gave him such a high status. Abu Abdullah Hussein alayhi salam did not only just sacrifice himself, he sacrificed his sons to the point where he sacrificed his 6-month-old baby. He sacrificed his whole family. Hazrat Isa alayhi salam did not have a family, it just was him and his mother, that was it. No kids, nothing. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave Hazrat Isa such a high status, even though he was not put on the cross, what do you think Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to give Abu Abdullah Hussein alayhi salam? What will Abu Abdullah? The people that mourn Hazrat Isa alayhi salam, they also do zanjir. It's hard. The people that mourn Hazrat Isa alayhi salam, they also do zanjir. If you look at the Christians that live in Philippines, if you look at the Christians that live in Mexico, if you look at the Christians that live in South America, they also do zanjir. Christians. There's some Jewish sects that also do zanjir. What does this tell you? This body that we have, this body is given to us from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We're supposed to sacrifice this body for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Correct? But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not here for us to sacrifice our body for him. Who are here are his representatives, such as Hazrat Isa alayhi salam, for which these people, they do zanjir. Who are here are Imam Zaman alayhi salam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Hazrat Imam Zaman alayhi salam, Imam Hussein alayhi salam. This is the reason that we do matam. Some people, why do you have to do zanjir? Now within the Shia community, which I never understand. If this is a must of taqleed, if your marja allows you to do it, you're more than welcome to do it. If your marja prevents you from doing it, then don't do it. That's it. It's that simple. But now the Shias themselves, they've turned this into a huge problem for no good reason at all. If your marja allows you to do it, do it. If your marja doesn't allow you to do it, don't do it. But at the same time, if you do it, you have no right to say to the other person that I believe or I respect Imam Hussein more than you do. No. Why? Because only Imam Hussein alayhi salam knows if he will accept your amal or not. Only he knows. A lot of the times we think that we're doing something good, but as we're doing the act, what happens? The niyat changes from fi sabilillah, or in this case, fi sabilil Hussein, to something completely different. In that moment, when we're starting, we're doing it for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When we're starting, we're doing for Imam Hussein alayhi salam. But while we're doing it, something might come in our mind. Oh my God, this person's watching me. I better hit myself harder. If a thought like that comes, then that amal that you're doing is not for Imam Hussein. Then it becomes just for yourself. That's it. This is why it's very difficult. If you do zanjir, by all means, if your marja allows you to do it, do it. But you have no right to emotionally blackmail other mu'mineen and tell them that I love Imam Hussein more than you do because I do zanjir. No. And if you don't do zanjir because your marja tells you not to do it, then you have no right to go and tell the person that who does zanjir that this blood that you spill, this is haram. This blood that you spill, this is useless. No, their marja has allowed them to do it. It's through these acts, before zanjir, in India, in Azerbaijan, the tatbir, where did they start from? You all know? Azerbaijan, Turkey. The walking on fire and doing matam, where did it originate from? India. Zanjir, where did it originate from? India. Why were people doing it then? Do you all know? When they would walk on the fire and they do zanjir or they do matam, people in the community would be like, where are these people from? These people are walking on fire. The fire doesn't hurt their feet. The fire does absolutely not. This zanjir, it would attract them. The fire matam, it would attract them. These ashair, this is what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to attract everyone to what's happening, to Imam Hussein alayhi salam. This is why we do zanjir. This is why we do matam. These taboos that we have, then they ask, why do you have these taboos? This is shirk. This is kufr. This is bid'ah. These replicas, all these taboos, what are they? They're all replicas, correct? I'm embarrassed that the Muslims, they ask us, why do we carry out replicas when 5 times a day they do sajda towards a replica? This Kaaba that every Muslim does sajda towards, it's a replica of Baytul Ma'mur, correct? That Baytul Ma'mur itself is a replica of another house that was above Baytul Ma'mur. And that house that was above Baytul Ma'mur itself was a replica of the Arish. So this Kaaba that we have, it's a replica of the replica of the replica.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah.
It's a replica of the replica. And when the Hajis go, what do? They kiss the rocks. They put their hand around the rocks, correct? And when you ask them why did they do it, what did they say? The Holy Prophet did it, correct? Was it these rocks that the Holy Prophet kissed? After the Holy Prophet's time, this Kaaba was rebuilt at least 4 times. The last time it was built, it was either in the late 1800s or early 1900s when there was a flood in Saudi Arabia. That means the rocks were all completely changed. And this is the miracle of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Every time that it was rebuilt, that place where Amir al-Mu'mineen or Lady Fatima went through for Amir al-Mu'mineen's birth, that would constantly appear in that same place. It would appear. The last time it was rebuilt, it appeared again. And you can read this on the internet. The engineer who went to rebuild it, he was amazed to why this happened. He couldn't understand. That's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala telling you can rebuild this Kaaba all you want, but mine that came in this house, I'm going to let the world know how he came into this house. It was rebuilt 4 times at least. This Kaaba isn't the same Kaaba that the Holy Prophet kissed, but the Muslims of today, they go and kiss it. The rock of the Kaaba are not the same rock that the Holy Prophet touched, but they go and touch it today also. Why did they do it? Isn't that bid'ah now? Isn't that kufr? The Holy Prophet himself, someone asked the Holy Prophet, Ya Rasulullah, if my parents have passed away, what should I do? The Holy Prophet, he says, go to their graves and pray for them. Go to their graves to pray for them. Then he asks, Ya Rasulullah, what if I don't know where the graves are? What if I don't know where the graves are? What does the Holy Prophet say? He says, I want you to make 2 lines in the sand. Make one of them your father's grave, one of them your mother's grave, and pray. What is that 2 lines in the sand representing? It's supposed to be a replica of the graves. If you don't know where your parents' graves are, the Holy Prophet says you can do that and still pray and you get the sawab. You can do that and still get the sawab. When the Holy Prophet himself, he's given us all of these avenues for us to receive sawab, why are we shutting them on ourselves? Why are the Muslims shutting them on themselves? Why do we cry? Who was the first person to cry? I'm going to ask the answers. Who was the first person to cry? Bibi Zainab. Who was the first person on earth to cry? I heard Adam. Hazrat Adam alayhi salam was the first person to cry. 1. Who was the first person to do matam? Hazrat Yaqub alayhi salam. Who was the first person to do matam? Prophet Muhammad? Hazrat Hamza? The first person to do matam was Hazrat Adam himself. Why was he crying? Hazrat Adam alayhi salam was crying over Hazrat Habil. Hazrat Qabil killed Hazrat Habil. Hazrat Adam alayhi salam was crying over Hazrat Habil. Not only was he crying, but he would do matam over him. Hazrat Yaqub alayhi salam, he cried over Hazrat Yusuf to such an extent that he lost his eyesight. to such an extent that he lost his eyesight. And how did that eyesight come back? Do you know what it was? It wasn't a prophet who put his hands on his eyes and told Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ya Allah, give him his eyesight back. Hazrat Yaqub himself is a prophet. He could have prayed to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, nothing. Hazrat Yusuf is a prophet. He could have prayed to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, nothing. But what does Hazrat Yusuf do? Read the story of Hazrat Yusuf. He says, take this shirt of mine and put it over the eyes of my father. His eyesight will come back. As soon as he puts the shirt on his eyes, the eyesight comes back. That tells you what? That tells you that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put blessings not only in the hands of prophets, but he's put blessings in those things that that lead to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wow. That shirt, that shirt of Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam is something that leads to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This alam is something that leads to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It points to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These taboos, they point to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No one asks this alam to give me falan. No one. No one's in front of the taboos and saying, give me this. No. That taboo, this alam, it represents something. It points to someone. We look at that figure, it points to it. This alam, it represents Abul Fazl Abbas alayhi salam. We look at Bab al-Hawaj and we say that because this represents Bab al-Hawaj, he will answer my call. Look at that shirt. It's a shirt. It's a shirt. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts shifa in that shirt. Even though you have two prophets, both of them, they could have prayed. No, there was shifa in that shirt. You have some narrations, Sunni narrations and Shia narrations. What was the reason that Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam, he wasn't able to be burnt in the fire? Do you all know? Some narrations, they state that it was the shirt that he was wearing. It was passed to him. That shirt. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put blessings in those things that are mansoob to one of his representatives. He's put blessings in them. Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. This ziyarat that we do, this is what I want to focus on a lot now, because the elders, wherever I go, I tell them, these youngsters at this age, take them to ziyarat. Let them see Karbala. Them hearing from the minbar or them hearing from your mouth about what happened in Karbala, that's nothing. But when they see the place that Hazrat Ali Asghar alayhi salam was shaheed, then they'll start to remember, oh my goodness, I remember hearing this. Now they're seeing it. The place where Lady Zainab, she was watching Abu Abdullah Hussein alayhi salam get slaughtered. They'll see Zainabiyah. They'll say, this is where Lady Zainab was. What do they say in English? A picture is worth? Thank you so much. A picture is worth 1,000 words. You let them see those places. You let them experience that. They'll never forget. When they go one time, the next year they want to go again. And this is what you want to instill in your children. You want to instill in them what? The love for Abu Abdullah Hussein alayhi salam, and that want to go see him as much as possible. And to start that, take them to ziyarat one time. One time. Let them see that. But what is the importance of this ziyarat? Why do we do this ziyarat? Where did this ziyarat come from? Did we make up this ziyarat or no? Did the Holy Prophet himself, did he do this ziyarat? If he did ziyarat, what kind of ziyarat was it? And when we do ziyarat, what kind of ziyarat is it? What does ziyarat mean? Ziyarat just means to visit. It means to visit. And when we talk about ziyarat, when the Shias talk about ziyarat, we speak about ziyarat of the representatives of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Prophets, Anbiya, Awsiya, all of them. That's what we talk about. This ziyarat, did the Holy Prophet himself do this or no? Did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala teach us how to do ziyarat or no? If he did, where do we learn how to do ziyarat? What do we say in any ziyarat that we read? When we're in front of Amir al-Mu'minin, Assalamu alayka, Ya Amir al-Mu'minin. Assalamu alaikum ya Abu Abdullah. Assalamu alaikum ya Abul Fadl Abbas. Assalamu alaikum ya Sayyid Sajidin. Correct? Where do we get this salam from? The verse that I started this lecture off with, Salamun ala Nuhun fil alameen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says this to who? Hazrat Nuh alayhi salam, Surah Safat. If you read Surah Safat, that whole surah, most of that surah I should say, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is just sending salam. All he's doing is sending salam. This verse, Salamun ala Nuhun fil alameen. This was revealed to who? The Holy Prophet. The Holy Prophet came to this world 6,000-7,000 years after Hazrat Nuh alayhi salam passed away. Correct? Why is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sending salam on an individual that passed away 7,000 years before the Holy Prophet? What is he doing? He's teaching us, it doesn't matter how long it has been since one of my representatives have passed away, but I'm going to send salam on them, so I want you to also send salam on them. Salamun ala Nun fil alameen. You read the surah, it continues. Salamun ala Musa wa Harun. Salamun ala Ilyasin. All of these are what? Salam. Sending salam. This is what we say when we go for ziyarat. Is it not assalamu alayka? May peace be upon you. Where do we get this from? We get this from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Who is he sending salam to? Those that have passed away thousands of years before the advent of Islam. So when it comes to sending salam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says what? There is no time constraint. Alaykum salam wa rahmatullah. There is no time that you only send salam on them when they're alive. No, you send salam on them when they're in front of you. You send salam on them when they're not in front of you. When they're zahir and they're ghaib. This is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is doing in all of Surah Safat. Sending salam on his prophets. This is what we do. Send salam on the imams. This is what we do. Send salam on the Holy Prophet. So where do we get this from? Sending salam on those representatives of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not just a sunnah of the Holy Prophet, but it's a sunnah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself. That's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself sending salam. So how's it bid'at when we do it? How's it kufr when we do it? How's it shirk when we do it? The Holy Prophet himself, what did he do? Jannat al-Baqi, the graveyard in Medina. Jannat al-Baqi where Lady Zahra is buried, Imam Hassan is buried, Imam Zain al-Abidin is buried, Imam Hud Bakr is buried, and Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam is buried. These are 5 of our holy personalities that are buried there, but others are buried there also, correct? The Holy Prophet, he used to go to Jannat al-Baqi and he used to send salam on everyone that was there. Tariq Tabari, which is a Sunni scholar, and his book of history, if you pick that up, he says there in himself that the Holy Prophet used to go to Baqi and he used to send salam on the inhabitants of Baqi. Who are the inhabitants of Baqi? The people that are resting in their graves. So what is the Holy Prophet doing? Sending salam to dead people? What does this tell you? The fact that the Holy Prophet himself is sending salam to them tells you that these people, they hear. These people, they hear. So if they can hear the salam, the ones who are truly deserving of salam, they hear the salam, they get the salam. The ones that are truly deserving of la'an, they hear the la'an, they get the la'an. This is just how the world works. This is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala works. And then they ask, this tabarruk that you do, why do we do it? What is the purpose of this? How does this tabarruk that we give to the mu'mineen, mu'minat, how does this give sawab to the marhumeen? Do you all know? I want to explain so they understand too. If I were to send money from here to Pakistan, What would happen if I was to send dollars? Dollars is US American. Pakistan has rupees. If I was to send dollars from Pakistan, from America to Pakistan, what would happen to those dollars? What would happen? Thank you so much. Those dollars would be converted into rupees. This tabarruk that you give, this is for this world. For it to be transferred into the next world, it needs to be converted into the currency of that world. It needs to be converted into the currency of that world. The currency of that world is not dollars, it's not food, it's not biryani, it's not any of this. No, the currency of that world is sawab. The currency of that world is sawab. And it gets transferred or it gets converted automatically. Just the same way you don't need to convert dollars to rupees. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't need you to convert this food into sawab. It happens automatically. So when they're asked about any of this that we do, please have an answer. Because you all represent Shia Islam. You don't just represent yourself, but you represent Shia Islam. Shia Islam is the Islam of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Shia Islam is the Islam of Babul Ilm. Babul Ilm, the door to knowledge. So when it comes to your Aqidah, have strong Aqidah, and you should. The Aqidah that all of us have brought from Pakistan, have that, pass it on to the next generation. But maybe in Pakistan, you weren't explained how you should believe in this Aqidah. You were told just to believe in it. That's true. But maybe no one explained to you through reason that this is why we do it. But for the youngsters, this is what I'm going to do. Logically explain to them why we do it. And this is the reason that we do it. One, it takes us closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Takes us closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the reason. What is the reason Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not create the jinn or the ins illa li ya'budun. Ma khalaqtul jinn wal ins illa li ya'budun. I have not created, or He has not created the jinn, the jinnat, or mankind, except that they worship me. How are you going to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Have you recognized Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be able to worship Him? The Aimah al-Imsam, when they do the tafsir of this verse, they say, Ya'budun bima'na ya'rifun. Meaning what? That I have not created the jinn or the ins except that they recognize me, except that they know me. So when you interpret it, the reason for my creation is either that I know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or that I do Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's ibadat. I can't do His ibadat until I know Him. I can't know Him until I know His representatives. I can't get to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by myself. I need someone to take me to Him. And that person who's going to take me to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the Holy Prophet. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad. Allah. I can't get to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala unless I go through the Holy Prophet. I can't go through the Holy Prophet unless I go through his gate, which is Amir al-Mu'mineen. I can't get to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala until I go through these Masumeen. They're the ones that are going to lead me to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when you look at their seerat, when you look at what they used to do, Imam Muhammad Baqir al-Islam, during the time of Hajj, he used to tell people to recite what? The events of Karbala in the time of Hajj. In the time of Hajj. Why? He used to tell people to recite the tragedy of Karbala in the time of Hajj. Why? Because throughout the year, that is the month, those are the days, and that too, where? Do you all know? Not just anywhere during the time of Hajj. No. In Mina, where all the Hajis gather for dua. Imam al-Bakr, he told people that I want to recite the zikr, I want to recite the tragedy of Karbala in Mina. Why? Because that's where the most amount of people would gather. Look at the way Imam is portraying, or he wants azadari to happen. Once a year, as many people or as many Muslims as possible gather where? Makkah, thank you so much. For what? For Hajj. Once a year. How many? 2 million, 3 million now, 4 million? They gather for Hajj. Imam al-Bakr, he wants the zikr of Abu Abdullah Hussein Islam to happen in that month. Not only in that month, but he wants it to happen on the day of Arafah. Where does he want it to happen on the day of Arafah? In Mina. The month where the most amount of Muslims would gather, the day where the most amount of Muslims would gather, and the place where the most amount of Muslims would gather. What is he telling us? He's telling us that this is how you spread awareness of Abu Abdullah Hussein alayhi salam. This is why we go to Julus in downtown. The most amount of people in a city, where would they gather? Downtown, thank you so much. In any city, they gather in downtown. Why? Because that's the center of that city. That's supposed to be the center of that city. And this is where we learned this from Imam al-Bakr alayhi salam. But this Imam, do you all know how old this Imam was when the events of Karbala were happening? Some people don't even know that Imam al-Bakr he was alive in the events of Karbala. Everything that Lady Sukaina went through, Imam al-Bakr also saw all of that. Everything that Lady Sakina went through. On the 10th of Muharram, after Abu Abdullah Hussein was martyred, and when the tents were being looted, when the tents were showered with fire, when the women and children were running from one tent to another, Imam al-Bakr he was watching Sakina run from one tent to another. When they finally get into the last tent, that's when Lady Zainab, she asked Sayyid Sajjad, oh Sajjad, should we stay in these tents and should we burn them or should we get out of them? Sayyid Sajjad, he says, oh Auntie dear, it's wajib for everyone to get out of these tents. When everyone runs out of those tents, the narrations, they state that it was Shimr La'in who grabs onto Lady Sakina. And what does he do? He pulls her earrings out so hard that her ears start to bleed. Sallallahu alayka ya Rasulallah. Sallallahu alayka ya Amir al-Mu'mineen. Sallallahu alayki ya Siddiqatu Fatima. Sallallahu alayka ya Hasan al-Mujtaba. Sallallahu alayka ya Gharib al-Gharba. Ya Aba Abdullah al-Hussein. Ya brothers and sisters, it's this Takina. She's 5 years old. When Shimmer, he pulled out the earrings, her earlobe starts to bleed, and she runs. When she runs, Lady Zainab Slawatila, she's looking for all of the children in Shaba Ghariban. She's found all of the children, but there's only one daughter of Hussein that's missing, and that's Sakina. Sakina, she runs towards Najaf. She wants to go towards Najaf. Hamid ibn Muslim, he writes that I was hiding because this little girl, she was coming towards me and I didn't want to scare her. But when I see her come closer and closer, I get up. And when I get up, this little girl, what does she do? She puts her tiny little hands together and she says, oh, sir, I don't have anything left. They took everything from me. They've killed my father. They killed my uncle. They took everything from me. Please do not hurt me. Hamid, he says, oh, my daughter, I'm not here to hurt you. All I want to do is put out the fire on your clothes. That's all I want to do. When he puts out the fire, Lady Sakina, what did she say? She says, oh, kind sir, thank you for what you did. But can I ask for another favor? What is it, my daughter? Can you tell me the direction of Najaf? When she says this, Hamid, he asks, why do you want to go to Najaf? I want to go to Najaf because my grandfather is Najaf. He says, oh, my daughter, if you want to go to Najaf, just follow this road and it'll take you to Najaf. They write that when she went a bit further. When she went a bit further, Hamid the Muslim, he says that there was a warrior, he comes on a horse. When he comes on a horse, he gets off of his horse and he takes this little girl and he puts her in the step and he says, oh my daughter, where are you going? This little girl, she says, I'm going to Najaf. Why are you going to Najaf? Because my grandfather Ali is there. When this person he hears that the grandfather Ali is there, this was himself, Amir al-Mu'minin. He says, may your grandfather be sacrificed for you. By this time, Lady Zainab, she's found all of the children, but this child was missing. She comes to this person and she says to him, oh kind sir, I was looking for this child. Can you please give her back to me? That's what this man, what does he do? He puts Sakina on the ground, and when he puts Sakina on the ground, he says, Lady Zainab, Zainab. When he says Zainab one time, Lady Zainab, she looked away and she says, oh man, how do you know who I am? That's when he takes off the scar from his face and he says, oh my daughter Zainab. When he says, oh my daughter Zainab, that's when she starts to cry and she starts to say, oh father dear, now you've come. When I was losing Abdullah, I kept calling, but you did not come. When I lost my brother Abbas, I kept calling, but you did not come. When I lost my brother, I kept calling, but you did not come. And now you come. Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Wallahu ala qawmil kafirin. Matam al-Samin.
सिलसिला जारी रहे हम रहे यार अपनी लसनों सीता हम का हुनर धीरे जरसी ना रुके बस ये अदादर भी सफर रस्म ये जारी रहे हम रहे लाके बदली मौसम एक बदली ना रुके अशेदार मातम मातम शहर का जुनून पर तारी रहे हम रहे या ना रहे ये अज़ादारी रहे शम्मा से शम्मा चले तुम मगर ज़ाकिर शबीर होने यारी रहे चाहे इस गम के लिए सर भी कहरा बेलिया वालत शर के अज़ा जान से प्यारी रहे हम रहे Mawa Karbala diye mawa Mawa diye mawa Karbala diye mawa Karbala diye mawa diye mawa
حسين الغريب الغريب الحسين حسين الشهيد الشهيد الحسين حسين الغريب الغريب الحسين حسين الشهيد الشهيد الحسين دعائي دعائي خدا دعائي ये दश्त बला में है कैसी दबाई बहाया है किसने ये खून मोहम्मद कयामत ये दाई है किसने लाई जवानों बुजुर्गों को मारा गया है शहीदों में शामिल है नन्ना सिपाही हुसैन गरीब الحسين حسين الشهيد الشهيد الحسين حسين الغريب الغريب الحسين حسين الشهيد الشهيد الحسين किया जश्न बरपा यूं अहले हवस ने शहीदों के लाशों पे डंके बजाए जला डाले आले मोहम्मद के खैमे सकीना के मुंह पर तमाचे लगाए जो बीमार था उसका बिस्तर न तोड़ा नबी जदियों पर भी दौरे चलाए हुसैन अल-गरीब अल-गरीब अल-हुसैन हुसैन الشهيد الشهيد الحسين حسين الغريب الغريب الحسين حسين الشهيد الشهيد الحسين उठी अपने मरकत से बिन्त मोहम्मद सिया शब की चादर में चेहरा छुपा कर गई करबला में तो उसने ये देखा है बोसीदा कुर्ता में एक लाश बेसर बदन सारा तीरों से चलने पड़ा है लहू में है डूबा हुआ सारा फेंकर हुसैन अल-गरीब अल-गरीब अल-हुसैन हुसैन अल-शहीद अल-शहीद अल-हुसैन हुसैन अल-गरीब अल-गरीब अल-हुसैन हुसैन अल-शहीद अल-शहीद अल-हुसैन الغريب الغريب الحسين حسين الشهيد الشهيد الحسين तरफ कर वो चिल्लाई शब्बीर बेतक लहू में नहाए हुसर भी जुदाए तबर किसने मारे है सारे बदम्बर ये तीरों से किसने जनाजा रखा कहाँ है मेरा लाल अब्बास बोलो मैं पूछूंगी उससे ये कैसे हुआ है हुसैन अल गरीब अल गरीब अल हुसैन हुसैन शहीद अल हुसैन हुसैन अल गरीब अल हुसैन हुसैन शहीद अल हुसैन सदा सुन के ज़हरा की तर्राई गाजी जुदा तन से सरता तो शाने कतेत गमो या सो हसरत में मजरूह मुस्तर कहे क्या के दरिया किनारे बरेत सुए अलकमा अब जो बीबी ने देखा बताओ कि साहिब पे तंदे परे हुसैन अल गरीब अल गरीब अल हुसैन अल गरीब अल गरीब अल हुसैन अल गरीब अल हुसैन हुसैन अल गरीब अल शहीद अल हुसैन हुसैन या हुसैन या हुसैन अब तक है ज़बानों पे अलमदार सलाम अब तक है ज़बानों पे अलमदार सलाम तक है ज़बानों पे अलमदार सलाम सलाम अब तक है ज़बानों पे अलमदार सलाम सलाम अब तक है ज़बानों पे अलमदार सलामदार अब तक है ज़बानों पे अलमदार किस शान से बाबा का अलम तूने उठाया किस शान से बाबा का अलम तूने उठाया मशकीज़ा चिदा लौट के तू पर नहीं आया मशकीज़ा चिदा लौट के तू पर नहीं आया सलाम सलाम ए शेर जवान सरे है करे करदा सलाम सलाम ए शेर जवान सरे है दरे करदा सलाम अब तक है ज़बानों पे अलमदार सलाम अब तक है ज़बानों पे अलमदार अब तक है ज़बानों पे अलमदार सलाम अब तक है ज़बानों पे अलमदार किस शान से बाबा का अलम तूने उठाया किस शान से बाबा का अलम तूने उठाया मशकीज़ा चिदा लौट के तू घर नहीं आया मशकीज़ा चिदा लौट के तू घर नहीं आया Eşer zaman sare her karlar bar saram Eşer zaman sare her karlar salam अब तक है जवान गुलाम Mola Hak Imam Ya Hassan Ya Hussein Mola Hak Imam Ya Hassan Ya Hussein Ya Hussein Ya Hussein Ya Hussein Ya Hussein वो आबिदे बीमार था वो आबिदे बीमार था चलने से जो लाचार था चलने से जो लाचार था और शाम का बाजार था और शाम का बाजार था और मुस्तफा की बेटियां मौला की ममता सनी हुसैन मौला की ममता सनी हुसैन या हुसैन या हुसैन या हुसैन या हुसैन शब्बीर की वो लाडली शब्बीर की वो लाडली सीने पे जो शाके पली सीने पे जो शाके पली जैसे कि आबाद जली जैसे कि आबाद बन में जली ऊपर कमा जो के निशान मौला की मां सनी हुसैन मौला की मां प्यासे गले खंजर चले प्यासे गले खंजर चले चादर चीनी गले लगे चादर चीनी गले अब्बास के परचम तले अब्बास के परचम तले रो कर कहे ये बीबिया मौला की ममता मौला की ममता सनिया हुसैन रो कर कहे कासिम की माँ रो कर कहे कासिम की माँ मारा गया कासिम जवान मारा गया कासिम जवान ऐ लाल में दूध का मेहंदी तेरी सेरा तेरा मौला की हसन या हुसैन मौला की हसन या हुसैन या हुसैन या हुसैन वो असगरे बेशीर था वो असगरे बेशीर था और हुरमला का तीर था और हुरमला का तीर था प्यासा गला क्यों करकटा प्यासा गला क्यों करकटा लर्जी ज़मीन और आसमां मौला की हसन या हुसैन मौला की या हसन या हुसैन या हुसैन या हुसैन शाम गरीब छा गई शाम गरीब छा गई आबिद खुगैरत खा गई आबिद खुगैरत खा गई अब्बास और अकबर कहाँ मौला की ममता सनिया
Assalamu alaikum ya Rasulullah.
Assalamu alaikum ya Amir al-Mu'mineen. Assalamu alaikum ya Siddiqatu Fatimah al-Zahra Sayyidat al-Nisa al-Alameen. Assalamu alaikum ya Maulana ya Hasan al-Mujtaba. Assalamu alaikum ya Maulana ya Gharib al-Ghuraba ya Aba Abdullah. Assalamu alaikum ya Maulana ya Ali ibn al-Husayn. Assalamu alaikum ya Maulana ya Muhammad ibn Ali. Assalamu alaikum ya Maulana ya Ja'far ibn Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum ya Musa. Assalamu alaikum ya Maulana ya Musa ibn Ja'far. Assalamu alaikum ya Maulana ya Ali ibn Musa. Assalamu alaikum ya Maulana ya Muhammad ibn Ali. Assalamu alaikum ya Maulana ya Ali ibn Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum ya Maulana ya Hasan ibn Ali. Assalamu alaikum ya Maulana ya Sahib al-Asr Zaman. Alaman, alaman, alaman min al-fitan al-zaman. Ajalallahu ta'ala farajak wa zuhurak. وجعلنا من صالك ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahumma kulli walikal hujjati banil Hasan tarawatuka ehi wa ala ba'i fiha sisat fi kulli saat qa'idan wa nasiran wa dalilan wa ayna hatta tuskinahu arzaka tawa وتمتعه فيها طويلة بمدة
मोमिनीन कुछ मरीज हैं। एक तो सबसे पहले हमारे कम्युनिटी के अंदर अभी मुझे खबर मिली थी यहाँ आने से पहले रास्ते में कि हमारे जो भाई हैं जुम शाह साहब वो इस वक्त हॉस्पिटल में एडमिट हैं न्यू मैक्सिको में, और उनको जो है वो कुछ हार्ट का इशू आया था, कुछ इमरजेंसी हुई थी बहुत। आई डोंट नो क्रिटिकल तो मैं नहीं कहूँगा, लेकिन बहरहाल उनकी तबीयत ठीक नहीं है, तो उनका सुबह एक प्रोसीजर भी है, तो उसके लिए हमें दुआ करनी है। इसके अलावा मेरी जो फूफी हैं कराची के अंदर, ताहिर भाई की वालदा, वो बीमार हैं, इस वक्त हॉस्पिटल में एडमिट हैं। इसके अलावा जो भी मोमिनीन और मोमिनात हमारी कम्युनिटी में या दुनिया में जहाँ भी बीमार हैं, उनके लिए मौलाना से दरख्वास्त है कि 5 दफ़ा मस्जिद आए करीमा और उसके बाद दुआ भी करवा दें। जज़ाकल्लाह।
Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Amma yujibu al-muftarra idha da'ahu wa yakshifu as-su'. 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 Ya Allah, bihaqq Muhammad wa ali Muhammad, please, all of these mareez that Ali Bhai just named, please give them shifa kamil. Ya Allah, bihaqq Muhammad wa ali Muhammad, whatever troubles that they're going through, Ya Allah, please ease those troubles for them. Ya Allah, let them not see any troubles. Let them not see any gham except for the gham of Abu Abdullah al-Husayn alayhi salam. Ameen. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali. Ilahi ameen. Allahumma salli ala
मोमनी नेक्स्ट फ्राइडे इंशाल्लाह मजलिस अज़ा है जाहिद भाई के घर के ऊपर। नेक्स्ट फ्राइडे इंशाल्लाह मौलाना अब्बास एलिया आ रहे हैं, वो पढ़ेंगे। उसके बाद सैटरडे को इमाम बारगाह में पढ़ेंगे मजलिस वो। फिर संडे को लेडीज मजलिस है हमारे घर के ऊपर, और मंडे को वो एक और लेडीज मजलिस है, वो इमाम बारगाह में होगी। लेकिन नेक्स्ट फ्राइडे और सैटरडे 2 डेज मजलिस शहादत इमाम सज्जाद हैं, तो प्लीज़ आप लोग उसमें ज़रूर शिरकत करिएगा। मजलिस का टाइम 8 PM शार्प है, तो प्लीज़ टाइम पे पहुंचिएगा, क्योंकि आजकल मगरिब लेट हो रही है, फिर बहुत लेट हो जाता है। तो we will try to be very, very punctual. So please be there in both majalis at 8 PM sharp. Thank you. We will notify you in the bulletin with flyers and messages as well. Inshallah, see you guys. Jazakallah.